Everybody, hope you're all well. Mindful Moodling will be starting in a few minutes. Well, you know how early I am. Anyway, just bear with me, the video's about to start soon. Thanks, bye. Woohoo, Amanda. Hello, everybody. A little bit of background. A little bit of background. Right. Good afternoon, everybody. Hello. Beautiful day here. I'm like that about whether I should cut my lawn or leave it to grow, because the amount of little furry things that are, starting to live in there. But I don't want it to be an excuse for not cutting my lawn. So, good morning, afternoon, evening, day. I have got some Tracy. Hello, Belinda. Oh, yes. That bit of background music. I'm just messing around on StreamYard. I don't know what's happening, really. So, yeah, Belinda, I'm just going to be like messing. We've got hello, Facebook user, and hello, Facebook user. And, oh, sorry, I've got all sorts of cuts on my fingers at the moment. Yeah, but I don't know if people are going to be, joining us or not. It's entirely up to them. But what we need to do, really, just dead quick, is gather some little bits of waste or stuff, whatever we've got, okay? So I have got some felt, some really rubbishy paper, and whatever, bits and bobs like this. Got a couple of pens. I'm not going to be showing you everything because this is going to be like moving on with my Patreon. So if you'd like to be part of it and subscribe, it'll be £5 a month, and we'll be working together and doing this sort of as we will be developing it. So if you care to join in, that's even better. If you don't, even fine, no problem. So hello, we've got Jenny as well. So yeah, I have got the new name, and I wanted to sort of try and explain it. Yes, I know I'm ready to start. I know that. So I thought this might help. So basically, I'm doing what they call Slo-Mo. Well, I've deemed it as Slo-Mo, which is slow motion, slow stitching, slow stitch moodling. equals slow moodling. So it's like, is it a portmanteau? Not too sure, but anyway, it's a play on words. It's not what quite an oxymoron, but it's not. So it's basically slow motion. So it's slow motion as in take your time, enjoy it. Slow as in like repetitive and easygoing and meditative and mindful stitches, but we're going to incorporate moodling and we're going to be doing stitched moodles. So it's going to be like a real nice journey, and it's really interesting how this all came about, but I will go into detail a little bit more in my opposite group. So yeah, I've got all sorts. So the first thing I've got is some threads. Now I've got some long darner John James, but you just get what you want, and a contrasting thread. You can use big threads if you want. You can use colourful matching threads. It really is entirely. I've got quilted thread, I've got cotton silk, but you do want something that's going to be a bit brighter than normal because you want to be able to see it. So take that aside. Oh, I've got some bits of fabric. This is what I'm making for my doll. I can see it's not for everybody. People in and out, but hey ho, hey ho. That is up to people, isn't it? It's entirely up to people what they do. So I've got this piece of blue paper and I've got a piece of felt. Now there are measurements that I will be using for my felt, but it really doesn't matter at all. I'll make a couple of pages, so just going to do this. So I've got a piece of felt which is A5, so A4. Oh, drop my thread. Right, and then A5, so it's A6. Okay, now you don't have to do it like this. I'm just finger pressing. Okay, just finger pressing. So next, just get a little bit of paper. Oh, 2 sheets there. And this is, I'm not really a lover of this, but I will not use hardly any of this. But what else have we got? Oh, a bit of this. You really don't need a lot. You really, really don't need a lot. In fact, this is way too much, but we can use it again. So right. Oh, there's a bit of that as well. So this is just thread and paper, and it really doesn't get any easier than that. So let's see what I want in the background. So let's have that there. I'm not going to be too descriptive with it. I'm just going to do it because it's not actually the collage that is important, but it really does help. So the collage is just part of it. It's not the be all and end all. And I'm ripping some of it and then taking the ends off some because I don't really want it nice and neat. I want it raggedy. Right, now just going to pull some of these off. Now the reason I'm doing this is so that I've got threads as well. So I'm just ripping my threads off. Don't mind leaving them like that. So a bit on this as well. Leave your threads on your paper. Okay. And if you've got nice bits of fabrics and stuff that you really don't want to waste or you've had for years or the sentimental value, then this is perfect. Absolutely perfect. And these shapes, like I've cut out from my doll making, are perfect because they're just like these wibbly wobbly bits that you really wouldn't necessarily use. Now, bear in mind, I've got mine in half. But, oh, you bum. Never mind. So I'm just going to work there. So let me get my pen, just so you're not. I might need this one. There, I'm just working there. Okay. Just that side. So, now, let's get my bits. I've just got a terrible habit of dropping pins and getting in trouble for forgetting where they are. Right, so let's get our... Now I'm using this piece as my paper, okay? So... Once they're down, they're down. Now you can't see the contrast here, but there's more contrast with that. So I like that edge there. Where's that bit of paper I had? Well, it doesn't really matter, it's only a bit, isn't it? Okay. Oh, I'll have a bit of this. So, I've sort of kept to what I need, colour-wise. But, you know, splashes of colour at best, I think, because they're just sensational. You know, gold and silvers and stuff. Like, I really like that bit there. So let me just put these down properly because I just threw them down. So I'm just going to move that over there because it sort of got in the way. That in there, that over there, that there, that there. I'm just going to fold these back down because they're a bit curly. Looks a mess, I know. But if you think that this is everything that we do with our paints, it's exactly the same. Maybe something here. Oh, nearly took my fingers off. There you go. See, the white would look quite nice as a dynamic piece, so to speak, but it's entirely up to you what you do. So I might have another bit of that because I'm liking how it looks. It looks a right mess, doesn't it? I love it. Love it. I might leave it in a minute. Bring that down. Right, it's now done. So there's no right or wrong way of doing this at all. It's just whatever's right for you at that time. There's no nobody saying it's got to be like this or not. It's just as it is. If you want to add more, you add more, but just get down what you need first. And if you're doing it on a nice table, just be careful like me, don't stick it in your table. It's not a great table though, it's seen better days this, I'm afraid, but I do love it. So I've got it sort of right. I wouldn't use glue, or if you're going to use glue, use fabric glue at the moment because it's, there we go, Looks awful. Ta-da! I know, looks awful. So, hello, Jenny. Oh, the monthly group. Oh, the monthly group is my Patreons. And they are in my group where it's like £5 a month, and it's like part of my Patreon group as well. So I can give you the link for that if anybody's interested. And you do, we're going to be doing more of this, and it's going to be exclusive to that. But we're going to interact with all our stuff. The people who are already in my patrons, they know the stuff. So, hi, Anya. Lovely to see you. So just going to drop that off. So that's where it is. Now, it looks absolutely awful. I know. But treat it as you would your fabric, as your paper. So now what I'm going to do is get I'm like orange. You see, I think orange would work, but this would clearly work as well. So the main aim, firstly, is to get your stuff. Now, if you have got spray adhesive, by all means use that, because it doesn't stiffen. But if you haven't, try and stay away from glue, because it'll glue up your needles. It'll glue up everything, if I'm, honest. So I've got what we call a long darner, and I'm just going to thread some quilting cotton, which is thicker than normal. You get thousands of blooming. Why is that not going through? Oh, there's a knot. Now, I'm going to wax my thread, even though there's a knot on it. And I'm just going to put that there, out of the way. So I'm just going to thread underneath. And I'm going to anchor everything down. Don't stab yourself like that, though. So, all I'm doing, little stitch, moving pin. And it really doesn't matter, because you're not doing this for neatness at all. You're doing this just to stick down your bits on your paper with glue. But we're doing stick down your fabric bits up there. I knew I'd do it at some point. Come on. Not watching when I'm going there. Yeah, this is. My words are all getting confused today. My fibro's playing up, I think. This is gluing down your paper, but we're tacking down our fibres. And the Moodle hasn't started yet. This is me starting, getting ready for my Moodle. Just little stab stitches, whatever you want to call them. Nothing fancy. It really is okay for them to show. If you don't want them to show, then this isn't really for you, because that's the whole part of the slow stitching. Don't worry about that side. There's no problem with that, because you can do a couple of things with it. You can either cover it up with something else, or just a day. So if I'll just show you, I'll just get this tacked down, and I'll show you that you just fold the page over again, the felt, and it's covered it, so to speak. It sort of envelopes it inside. Okay, so all the curly bits that are annoying you, use a stab stitch. Now the reason I'm using the long darners is so I can do quite long running stitches, and that allows me to. Now the essence of this, there's a lot of science behind this, that I'm not going into now, but in the monthly group I will. And I want to build a book. I want to be able to sort of have a fabric book. So if I've got it's not very bad, I could just fold that over as the back and put another one on there and fold the two backs together, if you get me. So when I tie mine off, I just use a couple of catch stitches. Okay, so basically I like to use these hem ones, they're very sharp, and I've just stuck it in my hand as I can feel, but I like to use these because they're very, very sharp. They're not like your ordinary pin, and they're not like a Dorcas pin either, so they're very sharp. I've got a big flower head, so okay, get that out. So I need to put another stitch in there and another one down here. So I'm going to put a little bit more of this on. I don't need a lot. I normally do wax on with threads, so it gives me a better chance of not knotting up and tie myself up in ends, or it really does annoy me when I start because I get knots everywhere and it really does annoy me. You can hide your knots underneath here if you don't want it on that page. Honestly, it don't matter, just get them tacked down. Like I say, if you have got fabric adhesive spray, they're not too gloopy, then that'll be fine. It's just some glues, they're too gloopy for this because it just gloops up your thingy before you've even started. Your needle, it's no good then. You like spend half your day ungluing your needle. So I'm just going to pop that on there. Now this is a bit wibbly wobbly because it's fabric that's I've sort of ripped and it's gone curly, so put a couple of running stitches in there, and I'm just going to go all over now in my running stitch, big ones, all over, just to anywhere else that needs it. Okay. A bit there that needs it. Okay. This is the fiddliest bit, but when I'm doing this, because I've got a lot of this in my old journals and my old sketchbooks for uni, when I'm doing this, I usually do pages and then just go off and leave them and don't have any more. Hello, Linda. Hi, Angela. I'm not expecting many people because I only did it about half an hour ago. So, right, okay. So we've got our page. Okay. Now, some people might want bigger pieces. I'll do it on this one. So if you prefer this, then do this. If you want this, then do that. That looks perfect as well. So I'm not going to do that because that's one of it's like a composition I'm going to set up here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my pen, and I've got one of my stencils and my old stencils, and I'm just going to draw a moodle. Now a pen might not work. You might be better with a pencil because I'm working on felts. So we got a circle. Put another circle over here. Be surprised though, pencils do actually show up. I mean, I quite like the white pen. It just makes life easier if you use a white pen. And then here, I'll do it by eye so you can see. I'm going to do some really slow stitching there. So then it'll carry on over there, and then I might do some. If you did, now this is not a necessary thing. If you prefer not to draw your stuff on, then don't. I'm just drawing it so you can see what I'm gonna do. And then, but it is easier to get, you know, whatever you're using, to get a product. So you like a fabric pen or something that's going to work. So you draw your lines, and in the monthly thing, it's going to be quite. This will be all broken down very much so that you can step by step work with me. So now I've got this quite strong thread, so I'm going to do a double thread. Now it's a split thread this, so I might have problems. So for that reason, I'm just going to pull my wax through it. I've got some white silk there that'll work as well. So double your thread over. See if it goes through that. Now I've doubled it over because then I've got a catch there. If it goes through. Perfect. So I've got the bend there. I've got the thing there. So what I want to do is I want to create a catch. So I'm going to go where that circle is. Don't pull out. Back through. Oh, I've pulled the wrong one out. Let me start again. There we go. Leave the rounded edge. This is so I don't have knots, you see. And then go through that. And there's you don't need a knot then. You've done your knot. So I'm just going to go now slow stitching. Now you just have to, because it is the sort of thread it is, I might get some puckering, but I'm really not bothered. So I'm just going to do some bright stitching. So the first one is like round the circle. You can see I'm not paying any attention to neatness. So I'm going to get the circle done. I'm doing a running stitch, stab stitch, you name it, any stitch I want. Oops. Get past this bit. Oh, come on. Get past this bit and you start to free up with your stitching. It becomes a lot easier. Just get your stitch, your thread working. Now, I sort of got it where I want it. Like that. Can you see on the back? So now, I'm going to go over to this point here. This is where the slow stitching begins. So I'm just going to go if I don't go to my lines, it really doesn't matter. This might be a nightmare thread for me, but hey ho. Now there is something like this in Japanese shishisko, I can't pronounce it, and it was a way of really utilising fabrics, making them stronger, you know, so people's clothes lasted longer, warmer, because it had adhered fabric to fabric. Now you can do a long running stitch with these darners, and you can also do like a really nice back stitch with them. Now I've changed to a back stitch, and all I'm doing is, so I'm transferring the long stitch that's on the front to the back. So I'm just going to do this little bits here. Can you understand that if I was gluing this now, it would be quite difficult? Right, really, not very neat. It really doesn't matter. So now what I'm going to do is go back. I'll do try. So I've used the first lines like we do with the Moodle as our starting point, and then as we go over it, we go back, adding our stitched Moodles to it. So we've got that pattern, and then we've got another one here, and because we've already done the start of the pattern, we're not too sort of et up about where to draw or stitch, because we've already got a stitching pattern there. So here I'm just going to do some more running stitches, but to there. Then I'm going to stitch the edge of this felt down. I'm going to use a good old-fashioned blanket stitch, but I'm going to alter the size so that I get different effects. So paper, fabric, gauze, ribbons, you name it, you can do it. So just do this bit here, and the contrasting thread really does help to give it a bit of an impact. So there we go. I understand this isn't going to be for everybody, but that's the same as craft, isn't it? We don't all like everything, we like bits of it, so you take what you need and then do that. So here I'm finishing on the front, not the back. So what I did on the back, just finishing there, leave that. So I'm going to go in now with some threads here. I've got this cord here, might be easier for you to see. I might not get it through my needle though. If you don't, sometimes you can do that and that'll help you get it in, but if it doesn't, I'll have to go to the other one. We've got a bigger, I think those eyes might be a bit easier to see. If not, I'll double the other one over so you can see. Come on. Come on. Very thick thread, this. I don't think it is thread, I think it's string. I'll use this one. This is a little bit thinner. This is like a silk. I found a lot of these in vintage charity shops and vintage shops and stuff, you know, old reels. You just got to test that they are still workable, because they do lose it, and they do lose the sort of strength, and they start to become quite weak and brittle. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some slower stitching. So I'm just going to follow a pattern. I'm going to chop that off, it's doing me head in. Going to follow the pattern I've already got and it's this pattern here, and I'm going to do it in little. So we're going that way first. So I'm following this pattern here, but it's this slow-mo or slow stitching or whatever, slow moodle stitch is all about how you would draw. It's not about being fast. If there's a string that's too tight, chop it. If it comes loose, let it. Don't matter. So I'm going to stitch that down a bit more. So here on this, I'm going to stitch the whole thing. So I'll show you what I mean. So just going to put this round here and into there like that, and I'm just going to work back into that one stitch, one piece, sorry. So I'm going to condense the stitching, and you get a better idea. So this would be like when you're shading with a pencil. And you're adding lots of pencil shading, and if you've got a bit that you want to go darker with, you press more or add more lines, and this is what we're going to do here. But this is all broken down into the Patreon allows, we're going to have more time to do this. I'll still be able to do a couple of free ones, but if you want to know a little bit more about the Slo-Mo and the blue moodling and all that, then the website and Patreon will show you, and the groups, and as soon as you join, I'll be able to invite you back to the group and we can sort of start from there. I just wanted to offer my Patreons more, and I wanted to people who wanted to subscribe to be able to do it. Some people don't like the term Patreon, which is fine, so a subscription suits them better. So you stitch it any way you want, and you just add in simple lines. Now I've done it willy-nilly like that, but you could do it in a very nice neat pattern. So if I was going to do it down here, I would stitch a straight line. Like this looks awful here, right? So I'm just going to do a little bit in there. So let me see, I'm just going to tack it there first. So I'm going to do a back stitch, I think, or stem stitch. And I get a nice line. A neater line. You've got to trust the process. It never looks good at the beginning. It always looks a shambles, but as you go through it and start to work, you start to realise that you're actually enjoying just the stitching. Don't matter what, if you got an outcome, even better. But if you know, it's not about the outcome. It's very much about the process, the journey, enjoying it. You know, not thinking too much about anything else in your head. And it's a really good release. Well, I find it's really helpful for me. I'm not a doctor, so I can't say it helps everybody, but so I'm just going to put more on it. Now, I would spend hours on this one picture. I would put beads on, I'd put braids on and ribbons and tickets and buttons, and I would just go for it. Just really fill up the spaces. And I don't need to have a pattern. I don't need anything like that. Now, this is very fussy, but you can go right to some of the simpler forms and just have colour blocks, and that might be more of a way with you. So we've got that going that way and this going this way, so in that space. Now, you certainly don't need a big needle like this. Really don't need a big needle like that. That's just me overkill. But I might need something here. So I've got a little bit of pattern happening there, a little bit of pattern here. I think I'd like some bright pattern there. So I'm going to go with, let's go with, would that show up for you? No, not really. So I'll stick with white. Got this pink here actually, might as well finish this off. She says, where's the end? Come on. This is a quilting thread. Forgot I had actually. Oh, for crying out loud. Might be a bit brittle anyway. I'll go white again, she says. Yeah, just it is easier if you make sure that the eye of the needle is as thick as you need it for your threads, because if not, yeah, you want to enjoy it. You don't want to be fighting it permanently, dear. So I'm just going to go in and out all the way down, trying to keep it sort of equidistant, but not worrying too much. This is why I like these darners. Look, when I'm doing my slow-mo, I can just get the lot done in one pass, so to speak. So now I'm going to go back, and I'm going to try my best to keep that gap about right. Oh, now when I tried it with glue, the edges were stuck down, yeah, but nothing else was. Oh, it was a nightmare because I kept having to stop, clean my needle, carry on. I was like, no, I'm not doing that again. But if you've got glue that doesn't do that, brilliant. So I'm just going to come back in again, the third line. And if you work a certain way better, then go that way. Don't make it hard for yourself. Enjoy it. So I'm going to go zigzag now. Now in the group, you'll be doing all the moodling, but you'll also be doing the stitches like this. So we'll be doing this on paper as well. So just doing that there. Bring that through. Tie it with that one. So put that down there. Can you see how that's starting to make a really nice pattern now? So then I've got this string that I can't get on that. So what do you think? Put that there. That's there. I think I need a bit that goes across just to give it a little bit more structure. But yeah, I'll be doing this all day. Just sat, you know, in the sun or whatever. Well, in the shade. And I'm just going to go this way to catch that down. So I'm going to go quite a big basting stitch, so to speak. Well, half a basting stitch. And if these are not what you'd call basting stitches, then name them what you will. Each to their own. And more often than not, I get names wrong anyway. So I'm not going to go all the way across because I think it might look a bit too much. So I'm going to make a triangle now, zigzag, just by going back over. If you have a nice sharp needle as well, it'll go through all your papers. Some don't like papers, some needles. So you need to make sure that it's fit for purpose, as I always say. Don't like it there, so I'm just going to change that. Go back in through it. Right. Okay, so there we go. I'm doing a spiral into the middle. You can do some weaving with this if you wish. You make a button with it. You can do all sorts. Put as many as you want in. I'm not going to weave this now because I'll do it in the group. So it's starting to look a little bit more structured now. It's starting to look a little bit more structured, whether you wanted it there, or if you know, if there's parts on here that you really want to identify more and get it more structured, then paint on it, fabric on it. But there's all sorts of things you can do. But you know, if you want to do more of the like the flowers, so if I was gonna just get a little bit of the flower work done, and then I'll sign off. But yeah, you're welcome to come and join the group, subscription, and the Patreon. Works out at £1, just over £1 a week, and it really does help me to continue. So I'm looking at the flowers, and I'm going from, let me get this right, doing some daisy stitches to go with the gold pattern petals. So it's almost like, you know, when you draw over a pattern, the only way stitching over it. So there's a bit here that's missing, so we carry it on, just catching that in there. And you can see now how when I start a drawing or a painting or anything, more often than not, it really looks duff till about 5 minutes before it's finished, and then you're like, right, I get that, now I get it. But at the time it was like, what is that? That is awful. So you don't have to sort of join it on the back. You might like the back bit. So we've got a little stitch there with a flower. I don't think I've got, oh, I could try it. I don't think I've got enough here because the needle's so big, but I wasn't going to do it on it. Actually, I might do it there, because that no, I'm doing it back here. Excuse me while I do this French knot. There we go, French knot there. You can just see it. Look, French knot. In that flower, I'll do another couple of gold flowers there, and then what you could do is put some little, fill this area with French knots. You do little French knots here. I would pick up this. I would get some more fabric, some more like orange, and I would do zigzag lines down here and that. But this is just the start. So anything, like sometimes I'll pull these threads through so that they're at the front and frame, and then it's all hidden in there, or I'll pull them to the front and make tassels out of them. But then I just keep it closed like that to make sure that if there's anything like little bits that I do want to stick on, I can just shove them in there. If not, just leave them. But I do like these flower head pins. The long darners, the John James. I always use John James, great British company. There's nothing wrong with anybody else's company though, you know. And in the next installment with my my Moodlers group, we'll be looking at how we really go to town on this now. Um, it really looks like a dog's dinner. It really does. But yeah, you trust the process. I mean, look at Rowan Dean; they do amazing styles like this. Hers is more pictures. This will be more abstract. But honestly, all those tender little pieces of fabrics and stuff, you've now got a great place. That looks not right. But all these little bits here that I don't want to waste, just so like that, and then fold it over. I've got another page just with, so it could be like, I remember doing one on Stonehenge. I remember doing one on all that. So there's all these obelisks and things, or there's a person or a vase. Just go for it. Let your imagination go. But while you're doing that, you're enjoying the slow-mo, the slow motion, the slow stitching, and the slow moodling. And all we've done is transfer cotton for pen and paper and fabric for paper. Nothing else. So everything that you do, you don't need to be able to sew. Oh, fancy, fancy, fancy. If you can do a running stitch, that's all you need. And you can do the shishishko, I can't say it. And that's where they just lots and lots of lines, but it's a beautiful work of art when it's finished. And yeah, so I hope that impromptu one has give you a good idea. But yeah, if you could come and join us in the group, and then I'll put you in the Facebook group. The Patreon group is there. It's going to be £5 a month, at least, different levels and things, and it does help me to continue. I'll still be doing free ones, but I'll also be doing my group ones and my Moodler group. So I really hope you enjoyed that. A little bit different, but I'll be back with a Moodle during the week, and I really hope that you let me know what you think. And it's not for everybody, but it's just like another direction that we can go in, just to get our mindfulness back on track, calm ourselves down, give ourselves a bit of peace and quiet, and remember, be kind to yourself, right? Be kind to yourself. You deserve it. You really do deserve it. And it looks awful like this. But when it's done, I will be happy with it. But it's a bit like anything, isn't it? You've got to give it time. So all my love. Thanks again for being part of the group. Thank you for all your time and effort and support. And I will see you probably, it's Monday today, isn't it? Tuesday. Probably Friday now. Because I've got some stuff to do. So I may not be around Wednesday and Thursday. So have a lovely day. I might go and get my washing on. So take care. Bye.